In 539 BC, the most powerful city on earth fell in a single night. No siege, no years of war, no broken walls. The gates of Babylon, the greatest city in the ancient world, simply opened, and the empire that had dominated the known world for centuries was gone before morning. But the real story of Babylon is not how it ended. It is what it was before that night, what it built, what it destroyed, and what it claimed to be. Because Babylon did not just call itself a great city, it called itself the Gate of God, the center of the universe, the place where heaven met earth. And for over 1,000 years, the world believed it. I am divine. This is Div Tells Dark History, and this is the story of the most powerful city in human history. To understand Babylon, you need to understand where it started. Around 1894 BC, a small settlement on the banks of the Euphrates River in what is now Iraq began its rise to power. It was nothing remarkable at first, just another city-state in a region full of them. Then came Hammurabi. Hammurabi became king of Babylon around 1792 BC. Within decades, he had conquered every rival city-state in Mesopotamia. All of southern Iraq and parts of northern Iraq fell under his control. But Hammurabi did something that no conqueror before him had done. He wrote down the law. The Code of Hammurabi, 282 laws carved onto a massive stone pillar, was the first comprehensive legal code in human history. Laws governing wages, trade, marriage, divorce, adoption, criminal behavior. Some were just, some were brutal. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. That phrase, which still exists in modern language, came from Babylon. The world's first written law, and it came from a city that most people today have forgotten. After Hammurabi, Babylon went through centuries of conquest and reconquest. Hittites, Kassites, Assyrians. One after another, they invaded, looted, sometimes destroyed the city. But Babylon always came back. Then, in 605 BC, something extraordinary happened. A king named Nebuchadnezzar II took the throne, and under his 43-year reign, Babylon became something the ancient world had never seen before. The greatest city on earth. Nebuchadnezzar rebuilt Babylon from the ground up, massive mud brick walls so wide that 2 chariots could race side by side along the top. The famous Ishtar Gate, covered in brilliant blue glazed tiles, decorated with dragons and bulls, stood as the most beautiful entrance to any city in the ancient world. And then there were the gardens. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Terraced gardens rising 70 feet into the air, filled with trees, flowers, and plants from across the empire, waterfalls cascading down the levels. Here is the dark twist nobody mentions. Nebuchadnezzar built those gardens for his wife Amytis, a princess from the green hill country of Media, because she was sad for the mountains and forests of her home. The most celebrated wonder of the ancient world was built because a queen was sad. And Nebuchadnezzar, the man who built paradise for his wife, was the same man who destroyed Jerusalem, burned the Temple of Solomon, and enslaved the entire Hebrew people, taking them to Babylon for 70 years. That is Babylon in one sentence: breathtaking beauty built on breathtaking brutality. But what made Babylon truly different from every other great city of the ancient world was not its walls or its gardens. It was what Babylon believed about itself. The Babylonians believed their city was the center of the universe, the place where the god Marduk had defeated the forces of chaos and created the world. They called their city Bab-Ilu, which in ancient Akkadian means Gate of God. Babylon, the Gate of God. At the heart of the city stood the Etemenanki, a massive 7-story ziggurat that rose higher than anything else in the region, a staircase to heaven, where the priests believed the gods descended to earth. Many historians believe this is the structure described in the Bible as the Tower of Babel, the tower built by humanity to reach heaven, the tower that, according to the biblical account, God himself came down to destroy. Whether you read it as history or as metaphor, the message is the same. Babylon reached too high, and something brought it down. After Nebuchadnezzar died in 522 BC, Babylon's kings grew weaker. A series of short reigns, coups, and assassinations destabilized the empire. The last king of Babylon was a man named Nabonidus, and he made a fatal mistake. Nabonidus abandoned Babylon, leaving his son Belshazzar as regent, and spent years in the Arabian desert, neglecting the city and its people. He also offended the powerful priests of Marduk by replacing their god with his own preferred deity. When Cyrus the Great of Persia marched toward Babylon in 539 BC, the city that had resisted every conqueror for centuries did something extraordinary. It surrendered. According to historical records, including the Cyrus Cylinder, one of the most important ancient documents ever discovered, Cyrus entered Babylon not as a destroyer, but as a liberator. The priests of Marduk welcomed him. The people opened the gates. The greatest city on earth, the Gate of God, the empire that had enslaved nations and ruled the known world, gone in a single night, without a fight. After Cyrus, the empire continued, first under the Persians, then under Alexander the Great, who captured Babylon in 331 BC and died inside the city just 8 years later under mysterious circumstances. Babylon never recovered its former glory. Gradually, the great city was abandoned. The mud brick walls dissolved back into the earth. The hanging gardens, if they ever existed in the form described, disappeared without a trace. Not a single confirmed remnant has ever been found. Today, Babylon is a mound of rubble 55 miles south of Baghdad in modern Iraq. During the 2003 Iraq War, American and coalition forces built a military base directly on top of the ancient ruins. UNESCO later reported significant damage to the archaeological site, damage that can never be fully undone. The city that called itself the Gate of God, that gave the world its first written laws, that built one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, damaged by tanks in the 21st century. Some wounds to history never heal. Babylon was not a myth. It was not a legend. It was a real city built by real people who created real things that changed the world forever. The first written law, the first astronomical calculations, mathematics, architecture, literature, all of it traces back in some form to the city on the Euphrates. And yet, most people alive today could not tell you when Babylon fell or why. That is the real dark history of Babylon. Not just that it fell, but that we forgot what it was. A city that fed the hungry, wrote down justice for the first time, and built a garden so beautiful it became one of the wonders of the world. Reduced to a military base and a line in a history textbook. Remember it. This has been Divine Tells Dark History. I am Divine, and we are just getting started.